Welcome everybody. Good evening. Welcome. I'm so happy to see everybody. So I'm Dawn Thompson. Those of you who are newbies, I am so excited to see you. Welcome to the Truth Tribe. This is your first visit, then I want you guys to know that this is also a Q&A throughout. So you don't need me to stop and ask, hey, do you have any questions? Because you can ask them at any time, whether it's via through the comments, through the chat, or in the Q&A. So feel free to drop in your questions at any time. Anything I say, everything is open door and nothing's off limits. Okay, so I want you guys to completely throw the questions at me so we can keep going as we continue down this road of questions. And tonight's an interesting topic because I wanted to use the universe, which is kind of what's happening right now, is using the universe to our advantage. And we have all this Mercury Retrograde and Piscean energy happening right now. And so I thought, well, let's talk about what Pisces is. And Pisces is the sign and the planet and the house and the energy that rules, one of the signs, I should say, past lives. So I thought, well, let's talk about it because this is one of the questions that comes up for me quite a bit. And so I thought, well, if the question's coming up, why not let's endorse it and go from there. All right, so let's dive in and let's talk about the two questions I threw out at everyone, which was past lives, this life, or chosen life. How does it work, right? How does this whole universe work? And this topic surfaces often in my conversations with what in this life is predestined, what is destined, and then what is karma, right? Where is this all coming from? What is this? What is it for? What is it partly due to? And so I want to begin with, is it predestined? Did you pre-plan it? Are you just destined to live this? Is it karma? Are you replaying stuff? Yes, 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 and yes. Yes to all of it, right? So the answer is yes to all of it. You choose your map. And those of you who, most of you are on this call, have worked with me, you choose your map. Your whole being, right? Your sign, your chart, your personality, your boulders, your challenges, and the lessons you're going to learn that you choose to incarnate into and grow into. Okay, so the next piece is, yes, you also choose your parents. And we choose our parents, and we choose our friends, and we choose our lovers, and we choose, yes, you choose your exes, all of them as well. And we also choose helpful souls, right? So we choose the people who come in to help us fulfill our life's journey and some of our karmic lessons and what we have to experience in this lifetime. So the cool part is yes, you do choose past life, this life, and chosen life. The thing is, this is the hard part to wrap your brain around, right? In past lives, when people ask me, do we have past lives, Dawn? Because this gets tripped up with religion, because a lot of religious boxed mindset basically says you have one life and that's it. And I just don't believe in that God. I believe in God, I believe in source, I believe in universe, I believe in all of it. But I also don't think we get one chance. And if you get right down to the nitty-gritty and you go into science, guys, it's quantum physics. And quantum physics has shown us that there is no time and space. It's something that we as humans have created to give us a sense of getting from here to there, right? So if you're trying to get from here to there, you have to have some destination description of time. And so humans have made this time kind of continuum, even though at the end of the day, we're only just here right now at every single moment in time, always, right? And so we're only here. And then now in another minute, you're going to be here right now. It's always right now. And that's the goal that we're trying to look at is, if you think about it from this perspective, we put goals out there and we're trying to get somewhere in time. Okay. So that's the best way I can describe this to you. You're trying to get somewhere. We're trying to make this big accomplishment. So it happens when you make like this big challenge ahead of you, a big career challenge, a big health challenge, a big romantic relationship challenge, healing a relationship of yours, whatever the case may be. But a big challenge is in front of you, right? And that's when we start to realize these big challenges are not enough because it was only effective in the here and now. You achieved it, you overcame the challenge, you made it, you won the goal, and then all of a sudden you're like, huh, now what? So how many of you, when you think about it from time and space continuum, you've won something that you really worked your butt off for, right? Only now you're done, you won it, you did a good job, and you're like, okay, now you're going to look for something new the next day. Like, I did it, now what? And that's how we live our lives, right? And so if you look into the scenario of past lives, right, there are no more than, as I've taught a lot of you, infinity loops. So if you can't see me and you're only logged into the call on audio, my hand is out there and I'm making a figure 8. Pushing your hand out, then bring your hand back in, right? And this is an infinite loop, and you can see infinite loops up here and and all over the place. And so to imagine yourself if you were on these infinite loops, okay? And here, let me show you a picture. I'm going to share my screen with you guys for a second. I'm going to show you guys a screen share, and let's see if I can pull it up. Of course, I went and hid it from myself. Let's see. Nope, I'm not going to show you a screen share because I can't get to it right now. Darn it. Let me see if I can see. I can't. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Okay, well, I'm putting you guys on hold because, like, I wanted to give you guys a screen share, but it's not working. So you're just gonna have to listen, which is totally okay. All right. Oh, here it comes. Because my computer is mad because I'm trying to overload you guys with like 9,000 files. So it's all right. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. Okay, let's see if you can see this for a second. All right, there's my screen share. So if you can see it, let's put this down. So if you can look at this screen share, if you look at yourselves, if you are on the video, what I'm sharing on the screen is it's going to pop up, and it brings us to the infinite loops that I'm trying to teach you all, which is, if this is you, this is, just imagine that this would be your blueprint of your chart. And it is your blueprint chart, but everybody's got a different chart, right? And so if you look at these infinite loops, these are the loops I was pushing, right? And so if you look at a zodiac wheel, and they go around the wheel, and we talk about self-confidence and money and communication and family and home and health and partners and change and intimacy and faith and spirituality and career, friends, mental health. You see these infinite loops, and they go out into the universe ongoing. Okay, so if you look at this screen share, you can see the fact that, I'm going to go back to me. All right, so I can see you guys better. I can't see when you're in the chat telling me questions that I can't see. Okay, so hi everybody, by the way. I see a lot of you guys newbies are dropping in, so it's good to see you. So anyway, there's your screen share, and the reason I share that with all of you is, if you look at these loops, there are all of us that you're going to have one where you come in a past life and you notice that in your chart, in your grid, you're going to have this lifetime, and you're either A, reliving past lifetimes that you haven't completed, or you're rejecting it and you have this empty space on the wheel. Some of you have a lot of empty spaces or energy that you need to finish and complete karmically in relationships. Some of you do great in relationships and you have a hard time with career. Some of you are struggling with finance. Some of you are struggling with physical health, which brings us to this lifetime. So if many lifetimes you've played these loops on this huge grid of this universe, I want you to think about that. So if you were born to a set blueprint, which you all picked again, your birthday, your birth time, your birth planets, your birth family, and you were born to this set blueprint, people ask me all the time, are we allowed to change it? Yes. Listen to those words. Are you allowed? Hell yeah, you're allowed. You guys need to hear this. This is the chosen part of life, right? Do we get to choose our life, or is it predestined? Yes, you get to choose your life. You get to change your stars, but it comes down to this one crucial piece of the pie, which is, what piece of the pie are you going to fill in? Okay? Which piece of the pie is your weakest link? Are you the most challenged in? And that's where you get to decide, all right, if you can admit I fall short in that area, I can admit I'm not the greatest at taking care of my health, and I'm way better now. And Tony's kind of bossy now about it, which is really great for me, because you find these souls that come in and say, look, it's time to take care of you, or it's time to do this better. When it comes to being a little bit of a workaholic and loving what I do and being blessed to do all this with you, of course, it's a piece of cake. I don't even think twice about it. It's not hard for me. So we all have areas where people say, there's no way I'm getting up stage and standing up there and talking, and I have to prepare for it. I'm nervous. I'm stressed. I'm like, give me the microphone. Let's chat. Like, there's so much that's easy for one person and not for another. This is what past lives mean. Okay. And so if you, yes, have a blueprint to build this amazing life, you come in and you come to build this amazing life. And then, yes, you all know, you all have adults that, want to get your attention, and those weak spots get attention on your map and they trigger them. But remember that we all have to look deeper into our charts. And so now that you realize is that you chose this life, you came in, and so many of us come in and we go, look, these are weak spots in our chart, and I need to fix this from past life energy. And I have to clear this. And I'm telling you, we've played these loops on the grid I just showed you. Imagine that you're out into the universe, many universes, and you're hanging out with the planets, right? And we've chosen to come in and fix some of these loops. Now, most people think these loops are like in a linear, like us, in a timeline straight across. So most people think in time, timeline, infinite loop. I played a loop of energy. That was a lifetime. That was a lifetime. And we have all these loops of energy playing lifetimes. And my point to all of you is that, no, we haven't played them in a straight line. They're playing all the time. It's what loop you keep playing now. So how many of you want to guess how many people actually lived the life they choose? They came in with a predestined to fix a few things that they haven't wanted to in many lifetimes, and they said, yeah, this time I'm going to fix it. I'm going to work with these family members, these friends, these relationships, and I'm going to fix it this lifetime. How many of you think I actually come across that say, show me the weak spots, Dawn. I'm going to make a choice to clear those, to complete those loops, and be bigger and more badass and more strong, powerful, empowered me? Very few. And very few people do. And the reason that we don't do this, why do you think? We avoid these weak spots of coming in and saying, look, here's a chart, here's a map. It's because of conditioning. You are used to what I call the taught bubble, right? This is your truth bubble. Why we call it the truth tribe? Because the truth tribe is you come in with this blueprint of truth. It's who you are. It's how you were born. It's God, divine source energy. And you said, look, this is the personality that's going to come in and make you you. And what's so cool about that is you are you, and you're so beautiful and perfect and amazing. And all you got to do is do a little bit more of this other thing, right? Build some of that up. It's the scary stuff. It's the shit you don't want to do, right? But instead we come in and we get in the conditioned taught bubble. It's what you're taught as a child. We'll call it the iPod, but it's what you're taught. It's truth and taught. Which bubble? So we're conditioned to this taught bubble, not our truth bubble. Our parents don't typically wake up and call Dawn and say, hey, Dawn, I just had a baby. Tell me about their chart. Tell me how I could raise them to the truest, highest level to their potential and their personalities. I've talked about this before, guys. I have 2 children who are not athletes. They didn't desire to be athletes. I was an athlete from day one on many levels in many different sports. And I birthed two non-athletes. Now they're fit and they take care of themselves, but they weren't athletic to the point where they wanted to be on teams in competition and that kind of stuff. And what's fascinating to me is I knew that looking at their charts. And so when you think about this, that's what your chart, your personality, your truth is, right? Same with theirs. And only you can ignite it. You know at your core who you are and what you love to do. So the question is are you going to live your truth and live into your truth bubble, or are you going to live the iPod, which is your taught bubble, what you are taught to learn and know and understand? So here's the big question of the night. What do you guys think happens when you live your truth bubble and it conflicts with your taught bubble, what you were taught? Now, parents, do not get on yourselves like, oh my God, I'm a bad parent and I didn't know better and I thought I was teaching them well and I was teaching them all my, lessons and rules and understandings, or I didn't like how I was raised, so I'm going to be a better parent and do it completely opposite, and I'm going to go the other direction and I'm going to overwhelm them the other way. No one's perfect. No one, I'm just trying to teach you where it comes from. So what happens when you don't live your truth and you go the other direction, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not living my truth. I'm not happy. I'm not living my purpose. What happens when these two, what you were taught and what your truth are, conflict? Guess what happens? Anxiety, stress, depression, sadness, seclusion, isolation, insecurity, pain, judgment, disappointment, fear, physical pain. The list, give me the list. It just goes on and on and on, right? And so when these emotions appear, we are so uncomfortable, right? That we don't want to feel that, because when we're not doing what we were taught and we're not being good little children or siblings or parents or whoever we need to be because we were taught that way, but it doesn't match your truth. Maybe your truth is to go live in the jungle somewhere and live with some tribe and learn the different ways of, teaching herbs and whatever it is, right? I don't know, but that could be your truth, and you're fighting it because you grew up in this very scientific family. It's fascinating because we have to open up to what our truth is. So if you're looking at yours and we say, okay, we relapse and we're so uncomfortable. We're trying to do who we are and be who we are and be what we need, but then we relapse into other people's needs and their wants instead of living our own truth and our own needs and our own wants. And then we have temper tantrums, big adult ones, which I think are hilarious. Adults are so much worse than kids. Have you ever, well, yes, you all have. You have all seen the temper tantrums unfold, I'm sure, right? And when they do, y'all have to just start paying attention to what's going on and why they're having a temper tantrum. A simple answer, plain and simple, is they're not living their truth and they're trying to get you to change. So parents and spouses that are on this call, please hear me. Your kids and spouse do not want to be you. Let me say it again. Parents and spouses, or if you're in a relationship, your kids and your spouse do not want to be you. So beware of trying to guilt them into it. They had past lives too, and they came in and they're learning how to be something greater with who they are and what they need to be, just like you. And you can fall into wanting them to play out energy of an old soul memory, right? We want them to be something that we're like, God, when you meet someone and you're like, I don't know why, I just have a connection to you. I know you, I've known you. I don't know how I know you, but it's like I've known you my whole life, right? And so we go on and we go, oh my gosh, what is it? Why can't I figure out why I know you? Well, that's what it is. You've known each other in a past life. We travel through time, what we would call time, through the universe, through all these universal time and space in soul groups. right? So this is why even in religion, it's referred to as the eternal soul, right? Your eternal soul just keeps going and going and going. Your soul never dies. It's always reliving its highest lesson for a spiritual evolution. And so who needs to help is who reappears. And that's where the whole past lives things come in. And then it's the design life, right? Did we create this life? Is it destined? Yeah, you kind of chose who you were going to meet along the way to help you evolve. And so if you're going to live your chosen life, or your true you, your true self, right? You're going to have to let go of the taught life. And that is the scary part, because some of it is past life memory and repetition, and it's all energy, and there's no here or there. And so people ask me all the time, like, well, what do I do? Because you're living outside, you're living what everyone else wants you to do. Now tonight I want you all to make a decision. Okay, I want you all to make a decision on deciding the life that you want to choose to live. What life are you going to choose? Because if you're going to choose to live that life, you have to get off the, oh my God, am I going to let my children down? Oh my gosh, am I going to let my family down, my spouse down? You happy, you being you doing you is what makes them happy, is what makes them watch you laughing and joyful and playing. And that's why they come in, to show you what you look like. So refrain from being upset when others don't want to participate in the choice you choose. Okay, does that make sense? You have to change to make me happy syndrome. This is where people ask me all the time about past lives and like, well, I think I've known them. Do you think I've known them? Do you think I did this in a past life? No, you've done so many things in a past life. People ask me all the time, like, you've been probably a murderer, you've been a saint, you've been probably a priest or a priestess, you've been a healer, you've been a pauper and a prince and a princess you've done it all. I think that's fascinating, because the wheel that I gave you all is, you've been, self-esteem, you've done money, you've been me, you've been a communicator, a teacher, a healer. So when you have this everyone else needs to change to make me happy syndrome, it's because you're trying to avoid living your truth. Nobody has to change. The only person that has to change to make you happy is you, right? Done deal. Now you're living the life you choose, past and present, past karma and present. So when I look back, guys, this is why I get so passionate about your hotspot astrology. When I give you 4 spots on your chart, it blows my mind why everyone in the world wouldn't go, okay, show me where these spots are so I can fill them in. Because it gives you the solutions how to fill in your grid and completely fill in the empty spots on your blueprint. And then you start feeling whole and complete and awesome, right? To me, that just seems pretty amazing. Like, why wouldn't we want to? Why? Because it's uncomfortable. And you might have to tell your spouse, hey, spouse, I want to go do this. Or, hey, I want to go travel. Or, hey, spouse, I want to go take this job, but I'm going to be out, of town for 3 months at a time. The spouse should be awesome. Go. Be as big as you can be. But we're so afraid that we're going to change this. And this is a huge piece for a lot of people, guys. My husband, he's a builder. He wouldn't dream of building a house without a blueprint that's missing windows and doors on it, and hope that maybe these will just disappear when the building process begins. And then like, wow, oh, wow, this is a western facing wall. Wouldn't that be great if we just had a window here? Let's just make one. Go ahead, cut it out real quick. Let's go see if we can find a window to fit. So it's the same thing when it comes to your personal grid of a blueprint. This is who you are. Look and see where you have these places that you need to go and look and say, what do I need to do? He's guilty of neglecting his health for sure, and his emotions for too long. And he needed to fill that empty hole with an intentional designing to reset his blueprint. But doing so has made him stronger than ever. And my answer is find him. You don't need me to look at the wheel I posted up, and I'll send this out again to all of you who here. If you just shoot me a text, I'll send you out the wheel again. Circle on that wheel just your top 3 personal hotspots. Where am I weakest? Where am I most nervous? Where do I get the most insecure? Those will be your hotspots guaranteed every time on your actual zodiac grid. So when it comes to past, present, and chosen lives, are they real? Yes. And you decide which to live at each moment of every day. So we can go live past lives, but then we have to go and decide if you're going to replay this past life where you get stuck all the time over and over and over again, and now you're going to replay the same energy that you kept replaying, or are you going to live the truth you came to live in this lifetime? And so my question for all of you is to throw some questions at me. How do you feel about past lives? Do you think that your past life is a good or bad thing? People are so fearful that we're looking at everything in this 3D plane, right? We're looking at everything on this physical contact world, and you're looking at what you can see, and you're thinking this is it. I want you all to imagine at this moment going out into space, right? If you were out in space right now looking down on the earth, I call it the 10,000 viewpoint, 10,000 feet viewpoint, but 10,000 feet isn't far enough to be like 300,000 feet, let's say. That's out in space. And if you were standing on the grid and there were these grid lines all the way through the universe, kind of like the matrix of boxes, and you're standing on one of those grid lines and you look down and just imagine there's infinity signs all over the place, and those are your lifetimes. Which one are you going to play? Well, one of those lifetimes is an amazing, successful you. Why not replay that? Because they're all playing at the same time. And I know this is a hard kind of wrap your brain around kind of concept, which is there are parallel universes. There are multiple universes. There are universes on top of our universe. And you all think this is it. And you get stressed out about someone that doesn't like you at work, or someone that is mean to you in a grocery store, or some friend who's calling you a name, and it's silly. They mean nothing to you other than waking you up and saying, is this your truth? Do you really want to live this tiny little minuscule life when you're up at 300,000 foot view? Does that little tiny dot of an ant of a personality or a person really matter? And so that's the big question I want you all to ask yourselves. If you had to make your truth come true right now, what would you want to be? What would you want to do? How do you want to see yourself? And so this is a big question for all of you to start throwing out some questions to me. What do you see in past lives? Do you understand past lives? Do you understand that, guys, you've all been here before? And here is here because remember, there is no time and space. There is no here and now in the future or in the past. You're living all those infinite loops right now. It's just if we choose to turn over here, we're going to live this infinite loop. And if you choose to live over here, you're going to live this infinite loop. And if I'm throwing you guys all off on this, good. Because I want you to get off of this 3D planet that we're on. Now, again, you chose to incarnate on this planet, but we have to get bigger than ourselves. We have to think bigger. You have to start getting yourself to a higher dimension of time and space to understand that this is not all there is. And you've all lived approximately 1,000 to 3,000 lifetimes. You know, when you meet that super old soul and you wonder just how everything just kind of slides off of them? Those are your 3,000 to 5,000 year old souls. And I want you to think about, in a billion-year universe, billions of years, 100-year lifetime, 100 years old is not a very old. And we had lifetimes when we're, you know, in the 1800s, 1900s, you were only living to 40, 50 years old. You were lucky if you got to 40. So if you were repeating yourself with 100-year lifetimes, we're all kind of babies at 1,000 years old, 1,000 lifetimes. You haven't been here very many times. So you meet these old souls who've been doing this over and over and over again. Your goal is to become more evolved. Your goal is to repeat this and say, you know what? I get out of this body and I want to get into my soul's truth. And you all come here with a soul truth. And so if we're going to play this infinite lifetime, be here now, which is hard for people to understand because they're like, well, but I'm caught up in Louis Vuitton and getting a bigger car and a bigger house and a bigger money, and you get all the money, and then what happens? You're still not happy. I know very, very successful people who then come to me and go, I make all this money and I'm miserable. I can't find the love of my life. Clearly, because you're looking for external things that don't match your truth. Those are easy things, and guaranteed you were probably very successful in career for many lifetimes. So doing that now isn't hard. And so when you throw yourself out into that mindset, past lives. Past lives is you have all been here many times. You will all keep coming here many times if you avoid your karma. Now, here's the kicker. I've taught a lot of you on your charts. If you avoid your karma, guess what? You get to do it again. And you get to do it again and again and again and again and again. And that's where God comes in, right? So that's where this whole source and divinity comes in. God's like, I love you. I love you so much. Don't worry. I'll give you another chance. And so my point is why not get more divine source inside of you now? Why not play that type of vibration within your grid and go, look, if I could be whole and complete and feel happy now because there is no time and space, remember, there is no time and space. This is just a human made up, mindset and belief. And so that's where I want you guys to understand is this is really important for all of you to see. Just making sure you guys are still here. All right. All right, guys. So, all right, I'm going to pause here for a second. Anybody have questions? Anybody who can see me? I don't know if you guys are logged in where you can see me if you're actually on digital screen, but go ahead and type me a message in the chat. Anybody have a random question about past lives that I can elaborate on? This is kind of something that I find fascinating because people think I would never be in, imprisoned in a past, I don't want to be in jail, or I don't want to be a murderer. I don't want to be an angry, negative person. We were. I don't want to be a poor pauper. We were. I don't want to be so above everybody and be the king that has to look down on all of the minions. You were all of it, and you still were, and you will continue to until you start mastering how to become more, if that's the word people want to use, godlike, source-like, Christ-like. Is that the word that most people kind of focus on? And at the end of the day, does anyone ever complete all their karmic loops is the question that just came in. And if so, what happens to them at that point? What a great question. This is a phenomenal question, actually. Yes, you do complete your karmic loops. And guess what? You then get to go be on angel duty. So people ask me this all the time. So when you are here in this lifetime, we all have guardian angels. We all have spirit guides, and typically we all come in with two. Okay, so we come in with two spirit guides, shall we say. And you can talk to your spirit guides, you can find out their names, you can have access to them. And when we work with our spirit guides, typically our spirit guides are kind of like to guide us to that chart that I was talking about, like, hey, come on over here. That's when you make these random choices in life. Like, gosh, if I would have taken that job, I wouldn't have had this great opportunity over here. I'm so glad I didn't take it because I got this job. And so our spirit guides are here to guide us, right? To kind of keep us on the map that we chose to follow, okay? And so once we go, okay, cool, I now get the map, and I get that if I fill in these karmic loops, I can now complete this map, and I'm doing really well. Well, there are a lot of people who are these old souls and complete these loops, and then you get to evolve into the next dimension of time and space where you're not so dense in this 3D heavy body, which is really uncomfortable for people, especially the evolved souls. I'll be honest, I'm not happy about being in my body all the time, and I've had to work through that. I don't enjoy this planet. I'm very happy hanging out with dead people. and angels and spirit and source and universes that are beyond this. Totally content. Sounds weird, I know, but that's hard for a lot of people on this planet right now, and they know they're here to evolve people. So my goal is to teach all of you how to get to the same point, which is complete the loops so that we are in dimensions of time and space that are more peaceful and more fluid. So now it flows kind of like air and water, and you can kind of like teleport. You can be wherever you want, when you want, how you want, in any form that's loving and joyful. So now you become more of, let's just call them angels and guardian angels and spirit guides. And so you're watching over people more in that perspective, where they're now what you're watching over, and you're kind of on guard duty. So what happens is you'll find that people who have been like horrible accidents, and they come out of it and they're like, they'll be told, I don't know how you lived through that. I mean, honestly, you had to have a guardian angel watching over you. And they're like, I felt like someone pushed me out of the way. I have no idea how to explain it, but it just felt like I get pushed out of the way. That's when guardian angels, spirit guides can intervene, because you haven't completed your karmic loop or your lesson in this lifetime, and they need you to stay here to finish it. But when you want help, guys, all you have to do is reach out and say, hey, angels, spirit, source, whoever. I go direct. I'm like, hey, God, I'm like straight to the source, like, help me. We can reach out and ask for help, but you've got to ask. That's the only time they can intervene, is if you ask. But yes, we end up completing our loops and leaving this planet and finally able to evolve into higher dimensions of time and space. Because that's what this is. We are all energy, and energy gets to dissipate. Hopefully, if that did not answer your question, pop in another question and I'll keep answering that. But another question that popped in here: what does the saying, he's an old soul, mean? That's what the old soul means, is someone who has played this karma. They've played these karmic loops of energy, and they've come in and repeated that karmic loop grid so many times that they understand life a little bit easier. It's kind of like it just doesn't bother them anymore. It's very natural. Things that are just so flared up for everybody else don't bother them. So the old soul in them is like, I get it, not a big deal. We're going to work through this. They've seen traumas, they've seen epidemics, they've seen death, they've seen life, they've seen miracles. Guys, that's where God comes in for me. I've seen so many miracles happen in my lifetime that it's just, you have to understand that the more you push yourself to divine source energy and love energy and purity, that you are now you connect yourself to these miraculous things that you think shouldn't be, but they're really actually quite natural and universal, infinite energy, because we're all infinite. At the end of the day, you're all infinite energy, and you can become any infinite loop you want. So my tip of the day is, why not pick the best loop? Why not pick success, happiness, joy, and complete that whole wheel and fill in all the blanks and be all of it? In that sense, to me, it just doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't want that. So how can we meet our guardian angels and spirit guides? Someone asks. You guys are really going down that road tonight, aren't you? Okay, good for you. How can we meet them? So everybody, if you want to meet your spirit guide, guardian angels, this is how simple it really is, but it's kind of hard for you. I see a few on here, a few of you intellects on here. So this one might feel a little bit hard for you, but we'll do another class on this, specifically on this. I'll bring this up next time when we have a lot more time, because I am going to touch for a few minutes on what the pause button means. But good question. How can we meet our guardian angels or spirit guides? Here's how it works. Ready? I'll show you. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. This is a lot easier when you do this for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you just ask, guardian angel, spirit guide, tell me your name. And the first thing that pops into your head, the first picture, the first symbol, the first word, the first name. My guardian angel came to me in a massage, and his name is Jing, and he's an Asian man. He's a very old Asian man. So his name is, what's his name's like Jing Jong James or something. I couldn't even pronounce it, so I call him Jing. And my second spirit guide, his name is Khalil, And I actually asked for him and sat and went through an entire meditation until he appeared and kind of walked through and kind of showed up. He looks very much like a monk. Because I sat there and I went onto the grid, just like I took you all into outer space. That's where I go. I go into outer space. I sit on the grid lines like the Matrix, and I ask them to show themselves to me, and you will see an image of a soul walking up to you. This does help with the interest of time if you take more than 5 minutes. Now, if you guys do one of the meditations I have on the website, you all have access. If you do one of the meditations on the website, you can go up onto the grid with one of those and then just pause the meditation, hang out on the grid and ask. Guardian angels, spirit guides, show yourself to me and or show me your name. They will. Now, don't overthink it, the intellects on here, because I know we like to. We like to analyze. And if you don't analyze it, typically a name will come to you. It could be a name like, Ruby. It could be the name of someone from a past family member. And you're like, wow, is it that? Yeah, it could be your grandparent, your grandmother. Tony and I laugh because I know his grandma's around him a lot, and she will make herself known by things she does. And he laughs because he knows it's true, but he doesn't want to admit it because he's an intellect, right? He gets super nerdy and thinking about it, but it's funny because he kind of cracks up like, yeah, that's so her. She would do that. So it's really cool. If you want to meet them, you just kind of close your eyes, deep breath, ask them what their name is, and you'll get a name or a symbol popping right into your head immediately. If you need more time because you're trying to analyze it, go into a meditation where you can kind of meditate yourself into it and then just sit there and ask, especially the cloud meditation I do with all of you. It's the first one on the website for mini meditations. That one will take you up onto the cloud, and you can ask them as well when you're up there, who is my guardian angel? Okay, so go ahead and keep popping in questions. I'm going to move on here real quick to the pause button, and then if there's more questions that I can answer still on this past life, spirit guides, angels, old souls, I'm totally open to it at the Q&A at the bottom. Let me just pass through this so we don't run out of time. Let me just give you 10 minutes here on the pause button, and I won't give you a ton on it. I'm just going to shorten up that one because I knew everybody would want to kind of tap into this. This is what's going on the planet right now, guys. If you can see, there's so much turmoil and there's so much anger and stress and duality happening. Everybody's extreme. My goal is to pull you all and everyone else all from the extremes of duality of right and wrong, good and bad, high and low, to the neutrality. It's like when you pull a pendulum and you say, but this is the only way. The pendulum of physics says no choice but to swing exactly over. Physics says it has to go exact amount of degrees the other direction. Okay. And so it has to go the opposite until you finally get yourself into that point of attraction of saying, oh, I understand now. It has to slow down until the point where it hits neutrality and both sides can be okay. Both sides can be true. Both sides can be right. Right? So there's a point where you've got to start looking at life with neutral understanding, and understanding that the spirit guides and angels are all around us. They're hanging out with us. You just can't see them because you've been programmed to look at everything in the 3D form. This hard, wall and the table that you're sitting on is something 3D, but they're energy too. And when you can separate yourself out and get under the grid enough times, you'll start seeing things from a bigger perspective and understanding that the veil is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. You all can feel your guides. You can feel spirit around you. You can feel angels around you. You can feel source around you. You can feel past loved ones around you. You can feel past animals. I find a lot of people who have past animals hanging around them all the time, which I think is kind of cool. I love that. So why do we push the pause button? Why does pushing the pause button create greater success? People want to know that. What does pause do? Okay, why would pushing the pause button be a precursor to success? Because if you never slow down to listen to yourself, which is what we just did, slow down, take a deep breath, and listen for your angels and guides, guys, you're never going to hear yourself or others like angels and spirit guides or the universe when it's talking to you. right? You're going to have a hard time growing out of habitual patterns that are the taught bubble, the iPod teachings of your lessons in your lifetime. So remember this, you don't know everything, but at the same, in this brain, right? But when I take the brain away, your soul knows everything because it's done it all. And you're not accessing all this beautiful insight and source energy, and they want to help you. As we just said, when your angels and guides want to help you, they want to reach into you and give you the message, right? And so if you slow down, it speeds up your ability to listen. And the feedback you get is always a solution to one of your challenges or your problems. But most are too busy doing, moving, talking, interrupting to hear the solution that's waiting. This retrograde, guys, it was such a big one for forcing us to do just that. So the reason I brought the pause button up again, I did a live Facebook this week on it, but the reason that I brought up the pause button, because every retrograde, it happens about every 3 months ish, okay, give or take a few days. And every time a retrograde happens, it's just basically the universe is pushing the pause button. It's the universe giving us one big, huge pause button and saying it's forcing us to do that. And so all retrogrades are the pause button. We're all one, and that doesn't mean only with people, right? That means with God, with the universe, but also with the planets and with other parallel universes and multiple universes beyond that. We are infinite. And so infinity is not in a hurry to get anywhere because there's nowhere in infinity, right? It's forever. So if you can think about yourself as an infinite soul, stop trying to get somewhere. Just be happy right here, right now, silent. So here's the tip on this pause button. Stop everything. You want to talk to your angels? Shh, shut up. Be quiet. Find solitude. Listen to your body. If it's talking in pain, it's saying, I'm trying to get your attention so you'll take care of you. We'll give you solutions. The universe will if you just listen. Slow down, shut off your social networks. I mean, people, right? Digital solutions, slow solitude, quiet that down. I mean, really quiet it down. People see me on social media all the time. They're like, did you see my stuff? No, I literally will post my positive stuff every morning by 7 a.m. and I don't go on again. So people think I'm on there. I'm not. So listen, and I mean really listen. And you can't listen if you're busy. And so this is how you expand your self-awareness, by listening to yourself. And you can't do that when you're out juggling 100 balls, doing 100 things, and then you're juggling your dependents, little energy suckers, little energy vampires we all have. We have those too. Or energy husbands or wives or spirit, spouses or relationships or partners and friends. And they're all sucking the life out of you, and you're juggling their balls too. And we have all these balls and we're trying to juggle. And we're like, oh, I'm supposed to keep it together and heal and get quiet and understand and hear the universe. How'd that sound? You couldn't even hear me. So my tip for the rest of this week, this Mercury retrograde, by the way, ends on the 7th. Well, 6th, but 7th is kind of the rundown of it finally. Find it in this week. So if you can shut down, okay, as much as possible. And I mean, anything that you possibly plan, this is when God, universe, angels, source, your body will start talking to you because it's begging you to right now. You're all being asked to push the pause button. Get quiet. And when you're quiet, when you get these amazing insights or this idea or this solution, or you're just sitting quietly, right? They're going to come to you, to the challenges that you're, again, asking your angels, spirit guides. I talk to God, Jing, and Khalil all the time. I'm like, okay, this is the problem. Send me a message. And I just stay open to it. I did a week-long fast. I had shared this with some of you. And following the week, then I went on a very strict group of vegetables and meat and water for like 2 more weeks. I mean, that was it. It was very limited, very strict, to allow my body to have more time to digest and heal and slow down. And some days, guys, I slept for like 10 to 12 hours, which is unheard of for me because I'm kind of like a 4 to 5 hour sleeper, which I don't think is bad either. What I try to teach people is if you listen to yourself, your body will tell you what to do. People are like, I'm not sleeping. Okay, well then go do something, be something, become something. And so in those 12 to 10 to 12 hours sleeping moments, then I took naps. Then I just slowed down all social contact except for when I was working. It was heavenly, guys. It was so heavenly that, get ready, y'all. Ready for this? It ignited a new book that's being born in me. I know, crazy, right? Out of all these spiritual downloads I was getting, I knew I needed to slow down. I knew I was so externally overloaded that I knew unless I took discipline and I forced it, wasn't going to happen. Now, my body was in pain, so it was asking for attention. But by listening to my body, I shut everything down so I could actually hear it. And so if you're not overloaded, your truth can shine, your truth can come out, and it's going to give you answers. This is what shows you those moments of inspiration to heal your body, to heal your career, your relationships, your finances, your weak spots suddenly receive all these solutions from the universe due to you taking time to listen. So this, as many would call right now, like, I know I'm not a big fan of trends, right? I'm not a big trendy person, but this is the big meditation kind of trend, right? And I love meditation, but I'm not a big long meditation person. So again, even if it's 10 minutes of meditation, that's what I'm talking about. Getting quiet if you want to meditate. There's all versions. Mine are always walking or moving meditations. Yoga, right? Those are quiet things. I get downloads when I work out. I'm just listening. I'm on a bike. I'm working out, or I'm walking, or I'm running, and I literally just start going into a meditation, and I listen to it as I'm doing it. And then I ask when I'm up on the cloud or the grid, I'm like, okay, this is my challenge. Send me a message. Sometimes it's silent time, just sitting in nature, sitting outside, or just resting in your bed. No rules, just be quiet. Okay, so listen to yourself. Any questions quick on the pause button? I think it's pretty basic and simple, but I'm giving you an extra insight here of why this week. You kind of have about 1 week left of this retrograde, which is asking you to slow down. Do it. I promise, in the universe doesn't have any time. So if you're like, I gotta hurry and get somewhere, you're not really getting anywhere. Where you're trying to get is to back into your soul, back into your truth, and looking at your blueprint and saying, what on this energy wheel, if I had to heal it, what one thing would I want to heal right now because I don't like that about myself? I don't like my relationships. Okay, then what do you need to do to heal you? Not the people coming to you, so that you attract the healthiest, most amazing relationships. And people ask me, well, how do I get more confident, Dawn? Do more of everything you don't like. Plain and simple. Do more of it. I had to do so many of these live calls. I never used to like these. I am not a digital TV. People are like, you want to be on TV? No, I do not want to be on TV. And who knows, maybe I will someday. But the point being is that it wasn't something I desired or enjoyed, but I wanted to get this all out to you. So I just kept doing it. And they used to be just silent calls where you couldn't see me. It was just the audio. And now I'm letting y'all see me because I don't really care anymore, because I'm okay with it, because I did it so much. Now it's just not a thing. So that's the tip on pausing and listening to yourself. What area do you need to keep filling yourself up to get more confidence? Okay. So guys, we're ending up on the call. I'm going to open this for about 5 minutes of Q&A. I just want to share real quick. We've got 3 new events that are coming up. The IDI Academy deep dive again starts if you know someone and or yourself. If you haven't been through the 6 main core teachings that I teach, we learn about your iPod, taught topics that you have to undo. Your sonar, your programming, all of that goes into there. That is a live group coaching that starts in April. So in 4 weeks, that's starting up. We have Lighten Up Events. So these are so much fun. This is the same thing, but we're looking at your hotspot chart. Those of you who have forgotten it or want to redo it or bring all those you love around you and do it together so you guys can help each other, that's anytime you want. You're just going to give me a call and we'll set up an event. The couples toolbox, which is everybody is loving it. You have to start choosing to live your truth. And we're going to actually look at May launching a live couples reinventing your relationship retreat. So I'm looking at April. We moved it only because I am a little bit busy, which is awesome, right? So how awesome is that? So anyway, those are coming up. Find me. Any of those things, you all have access to the couples toolbox. If you have questions on it, you just have to text me. Y'all know how to find me. But if you want to live your truth, we have to start reinventing ourselves. And this is why I had this call tonight. What kind of life do you want? And that happens when you say, look, this is not all there is. Look around you. That's not all there is. There's so much more and we're missing it. And now you have the tools. How do we get there? How do we get to those tools? So I really, really am so grateful all of you joined me tonight. What I would like to ask is if you can throw out any more questions on this last 5-10 minutes of this call. What can I answer that would be in the spiritual realm of past lives? Do you want to understand how they work? Do you want to understand, do you want to see how to see a past life? That's through meditation. It's called past life regression. So yeah, any more Q&As, feel free to pop them into the chat window. The chat window is open, by the way. If you are on the webinar chat, feel free to type me a message in there. You're all open. As well as if you are on the Facebook live, you guys can throw into the chat room there. I can see you all, and I'm so grateful to see you all. When you think about past lives, how does that make you feel? Does it scare you? Does it intrigue you? For me, past lives really isn't as big of a deal as it is to a lot of other people. For me, I did want to see. I wanted to know, right? I wanted to know what my past lives were to see if that was what was hindering me. And that's what I did understand, is because we play these energies round and round, the infinite loops of energy, okay? And we repeat them. I wanted to see, for me, I had a neck problem all my life. I never injured myself. I've never had any injuries on my neck. Yet I hurt my neck. My neck hurt all the time. And I went and had a past life and I was imprisoned and I was shackled in that lifetime. And then I got put out in the stocks and got my head chopped off. How gross and morbid that sounds. It wasn't, because it's you watching a movie in a past life regression to see that, right? And so you're in a meditation, you're watching, you're like, oh, I was so relieved. But I was also, oh, that makes sense. Why I'm so afraid to speak my words, because I was imprisoned in that lifetime for speaking my truth and helping people find their truth. So it was repeating itself in this lifetime. It wasn't about having neck problems. It was a sore neck because I was afraid to speak my truth. And I realized it wasn't this lifetime. I realized it was that lifetime, which had nothing to do with me now, which meant I could go doing what I'm supposed to do, which is in this blueprint grid of truth. And it made it a lot easier for me to move forward. And so it's those kind of things where we say, okay, do I need to know the life? No, you just need to know that you don't want to replay it anymore by choosing the life you do want and finding out the areas of your life where you're blocked and filling them in. And this is not always easy for everybody because we are so stuck in all this heavy, dense bullshit that is not real. It's all an illusion. Then there was, a lifetime after lifetime when you see Dr. Brian Weiss. If any of you want to do longer research on past lives, he's a world-renowned psychiatrist who did a lot of hypnotherapy with his patients and his clients. And he would go into meditations and hypnotherapy and past life regressions to help them see past lives and help them understand that it wasn't that lifetime anymore playing in this lifetime, and that you're okay and that it's okay to move forward. People who couldn't get pregnant were killed or died through pregnancy, and they carried that energy into this lifetime. And so they think it's going to happen again. Then someone who maybe was belittled or ruined for their career or whatever it was, doesn't has this fear of a success in their career in this lifetime. And so they're replaying it as opposed to going, oh, it wouldn't matter what lifetime I played in the past. All I know is this is what I want. This is what I need to complete. And it's in my soul to do it. And I'm going to go do it. How do I get more confident? Keep doing it. Keep asking. Keep searching. Ask your spirit guides. Ask your angels. Hey, I'm having this challenge. Can you send me a message? Now, last tip of the night, they will typically okay, think of it this way. Your spirit guides and angels cannot talk to you in words, right? You can't see them, but you can hear them and feel them energetically. And so they'll typically communicate back with you when they're giving you messages through symbols. And symbols can be in all levels. So they'll be through numbers, through any kind of symbol that would be like, a lot of people will pick a symbol. They'll say, hey, angels, my dad passed, and so he and I agreed with him, like, show me a dragonfly. And when he does, then I typically know it's him talking to me or giving me a message, or hey, I'm here with you, look, I'm helping you. I heard your message, I heard you needed help, this is it. They'll typically send you numbers, 444, 333, 111. These kind of things you'll see a lot. You'll ask for a message like, I need help, should I take this job, or should I keep being friends with this person who's really disrespectful and angry and cruel. And you'll start running into the word or symbol on the back of a license plate, no, or a sticker on someone's car, no, or someone will send you something, go, no, don't do that, and you're like, whoa, those are the symbols that come out in different forms. And so remember, if you're asking for help through spirit to start completing your loops, so this lifetime, remember, I know I'm calling them past lives, but they're really not. I could care less what the past lives were. All I know is each of those loops will replay if I don't focus so deeply and intently on the life I want. Because you're very vibrationally matched to things you've already done and know. So just because you came in with parents who taught you something doesn't mean you didn't come in with energy that was taught to you. That's how past lives affect us, because we feel the vibration of something we used to know. We don't have to keep replaying it physically in our health, in our DNA. You can say no. I choose to flip the switch to health. I choose to flip the switch to fitness. I choose to flip the switch to success, to money, to love. If you don't feel lovable, you need to flip that switch and say, no, I'm going to be as lovable as it possibly could be. And keep it there, non-negotiable. Okay, I think I am literally totally out of time here, guys. Let me see. I'm totally over by 3 minutes. Okay, last but not least, any questions at all? I am here. You all know how to find me. You guys were awesome tonight. Thank you so much for joining. I had an awesome time tonight talking about this, like one of my most favorite topics, which is past lives, because they are, they're such not a big deal if you give them the power that they deserve, which is go find out what's replaying in your life right now you don't like. That's mostly lifetimes that you were kept playing and other lifetimes that you brought in and said, are you going to keep doing this? And the answer is no, which means you're in the here and now, which means you get to choose the life you want. And my answer is, guys, choose. Choose big, choose expanded, choose abundant. You don't have to settle. Just because you're really good at one thing doesn't mean you have to settle for another thing. Get it all, fill your will, fill your map, go for the best, go for the biggest, because there is no reason why you shouldn't have it, because you're infinite. And if not, then I will come harass you and I will get you to do it myself, because I love you all very much. We're at the end of the call. I wish you all brightest blessings, and I will see you. You guys are going to get an email in 2 weeks, so be checking your emails, because I will have a recorded call coming in on that one, or it's a recorded session that I will give you another shorter version of a tip of the day, tip of the week for you guys to take care and enjoy your next week. All right, so slow down, take a break, and I will see you guys soon. Brightest blessings. and have a great night. Take care.